What is going on, Busy Bariatrics? I'm Rob, your favorite VSG man turned bariatric coach, here to help you stop white-knuckling your way through chicken, broccoli, and dietary meal plans. Ditch the endless hours of cardio that leave you sweaty but still stuck, and finally fix the habits, patterns, and behaviors that got you here in the first place. Let's get gritty, let's get honest, but most importantly, let's get busy. Look, before we dive in, if you've ever been 2 weeks post-op wondering what the hell to do next, do me a favor, screenshot this episode, tag my weight as history, tag Jordan, and if you know her and send it to someone who needs proof that real results come from real consistency, you would be helping all of us so much. So Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hey, happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have Jordan. We are both fellow educators who work double jobs, a scramble to get everything, and Jordan really does set the pinnacle of the busy method. So kind of just tell us, because this was also crazy when you applied for Busy Bariatrics. Where were you on your bariatric journey when you applied?
So I was probably 2 or 3 weeks post-op, just starting to transition into real foods. Yeah, it was crazy.
I just think it was so awesome. We got on our discovery call, and Jordan is very much a stoic, where she gives you kind of here's the thought, here's the fact. It's directness that I love. And then she was like, yeah, I had bariatric surgery and I kind of would like to join the program. I'm like, oh, when did you have bariatric surgery? And she's like, 2 weeks. And I'm like 2 weeks you're cleared for exercise? She's like, no, 2 weeks ago. And started right in. Why was it important to start so quickly after bariatric surgery for you?
I think I really just wanted to start off on the right foot. I really needed that guidance. I could tell that just as I was transitioning onto more solid foods, and I just didn't really know what to do with myself. I just got super overwhelmed, and I had been listening to you on podcasts and everything, and I thought that it would be really helpful.
That's awesome. So prior to hearing me on podcasts and prior to signing up, can you just give the audience kind of where you were mentally, emotionally, and physically prior to bariatric surgery and why you joined?
Yeah. So I was always a bigger kid. I really started gaining more weight in college and a couple years after college, right around COVID time. That's when my weight really skyrocketed, and at the highest I was probably close to 385, if not a little bit higher. But then I would try to lose weight. I would go off and on diets. I would even hire personal coaches and other Instagram coaches that I found, but nothing ever really worked because I wasn't able to mentally put the work into it, I think. And it really took a toll on my mental health. So when I really started to gain the weight and I could feel my body kind of deteriorating, I really kind of hit me that I was just slowly dying, you know? And I knew that I needed to change something. So I started looking into my weight loss center that I went through, but I was really resistant to getting bariatric surgery. So I started with a GLP actually, and the weight center was like, you can go on it, but you should get surgery. And I was like, no, 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 no. Nope. And then before I went on the GLP-1, they referred me to the surgeon who ended up doing my surgery a year later. And he basically just spent the whole time, he cleared me for the GLP-1 in 30 seconds, and then spent the whole time just explaining VSG surgery and different options and being like, you will really benefit from this. And I thought about it, but I needed to dip my toes in the water. I'm not somebody who can just jump right in. So I was on the GLP-1 for almost a year, and I lost about 100 pounds. And then when I signed up for bariatric surgery, I knew that I needed to put the mental work into it. That GLP-1 time was really kind of practice. But then once I got my surgery date, I was like, oh my God, I need to do something. So I immediately found a therapist who specializes in working with clients with weight loss and bariatric surgery. So it was awesome. And then I had surgery, and here I am.
I think so much of that is valuable to kind of reflect upon, where I really do believe a GLP-1 is perfect to stop the bleeding, in the sense of if you're spiraling with your weight, if you're spiraling with food, it does help put that dampening on to kind of help do that. And losing 100 pounds is phenomenal. Like, that is really amazing. But realizing then, like, hey, we kind of want bariatric surgery, but more importantly, to work on the mental aspects and the psychological aspects, Jordan really does show it takes like almost a team approach or a holistic approach, which is what we coach in Busy Bariatrics. So, what was one belief you had to let go of when you came into Busy Bariatrics that helped you succeed?
I think just having that all or nothing mindset and thinking that I had to do something perfectly in order to be successful.
Yeah. And what were some of the biggest struggles that you had in the first couple months after bariatric surgery with working with us?
I think just like as the food options started getting wider, like fear of not being able to be successful started getting bigger. I didn't really know what to do with the food. Like the food was a big thing for me. Mm. So just trying to figure out how to like eat healthy. Yeah.
And I think that's important with bariatric surgery or with a GLP-1 is yes, it does give you the caloric restriction, but then it's almost tougher because it's like if we have such a limited amount of food that we can eat, how do we make sure we're building muscle, burning fat, leaning out, and putting it all together? When you started working with me, was there ever a point that you were like, this is too much too soon, or I'm overwhelmed?
No, I think it was like exactly the blueprint that I needed. Like I can follow the rules, but I just need the guidance. And that's exactly what it was for me.
I will say I'm one of those people as well. When I'm coached, of I am very good if you either give me a checklist or a blueprint and then say start at step one and you need to get to step five. And Jordan was not only an excellent student, but it was always easy to work with her because I could be like, hey, I need you to do like one, two, and three. And Jordan would be like, okay. And then I'd be like, you're sure you're good with this? It's like, yeah. And then maybe like in a couple days, I would hear from you and you would be like, hey, I'm kind of struggling with this food choice, or I'm really not getting breakfast in. Why was it important that you kind of do the work first and then message me when you get stuck?
I think I just needed to see if I could do it. And then as soon as I felt like I was starting to get overwhelmed or started to feel like I wasn't being successful, just like having the confidence and like being able to reach out for help has always been big for me. So I think just having that was important.
I think as teachers, we both agree like you have to kind of let the kids play with it a little to figure it out and then see who raises their hand. And Jordan was very good because I'll admit I get a little nervous when I don't hear from clients, but like Jordan was very good of like not really messaging too much, but when she did, it was a question. I would give her an answer, and you would give this like okay, and then I wouldn't hear from you till the one-on-one. I'd be like, "Is everything good?" It's like, "Yeah, you gave me what to do. It worked," and we kind of go from there. Do you remember one of the first wins you had in the program where you kind of could breathe a little bit of relief and be like, "Okay, this is working for me"?
Yeah, I think just like I would say as the weight started to go down and just feeling more comfortable overall with like having a meal plan and being able to keep up with my friends more like activity wise. I think like just the change itself and like recognizing that was like the biggest win for me.
So, and I think that's so important because for you, as much as you crush it athletically, you also had lifestyle goals that you wanted to accomplish with your friends. Can you kind of tell how your relationship with your friends changed after bariatric surgery and since coming into the program?
Yeah. Um, before bariatric surgery or even before I really started like losing any weight, my like idea of a fun time was just like going out Friday to Sunday with my friends, like having a fun weekend, not caring about anything else. And then it really just started to change because I started doing more outdoor things with them, or just kind of hanging out and not necessarily needing to like do like the whole like party scene anymore. And just finding new activities to try and do and feeling like I can keep up with them. I think like a big confidence thing for me in the past was going out with my friends and doing things, but knowing that I was slowing everybody down and knowing that somebody was always like staying back at my pace and like, you know, pushing me along, but just really feeling like I couldn't even hang out with my friends because I couldn't keep up with them. So now that I'm able to, I think that just like helps me be more confident around them in general.
Yeah, I could definitely see where you kind of hit this point where you know people are waiting or kind of like coaching you through it. And as much as it's kind, it can also be frustrating because you realize, like, oh, I'm the reason someone else has to stay back. What are some of the physical activities that used to show up for with you, and how has that changed?
Honestly, even just like walking down the street, like walking to different restaurants or going for a walk around like the park, just like any basic thing. And now we can not only do stuff like that, but we can go for a hike or go to play basketball, anything like that. It's just completely changed.
So it sounds like your friends were pretty active throughout everything, where even in the nightlife, they're maybe walking from restaurant to restaurant or a location to location and then hiking on the weekends. How do you kind of fit all of that in? Because it can be challenging, especially as someone who is, um, has friends who are doing, I will say, like younger people things, as someone who's like, this sounds exhausting doing any one of those activities. How do you kind of map out your weekends now to make sure you can fit it all in?
Well, now I would say that I definitely like hold Sundays aside. Like Sundays are sacred. I save that for meal prepping and just like getting ready for the week so that I'm like set up for success all week long. And then with the rest of the weekend, I see if there's any like must do's to get done for the week, any like work or homework or anything like that. And I'll schedule time in for that stuff. And then with whatever else, I'll plan something fun to do with my friends.
And I think that shows that, like, if you just get really clear on your calendar, it really can put everything together. And it was cool because I think we started in the summertime when you were working as a camp director. How did that kind of change as being 2 weeks post op and having to run a camp and then come hang out in our summer camp in the evenings?
Yeah, so camp always kind of takes over my life in the summer. And, I kind of just go off the grid because I'm thinking about camp all day long. Trying to make sure that I was still taking care of myself during the summer was really interesting. And I think it took a lot of balance. And then, like, trying to maintain, like, keeping up with, like, the group chats and stuff like that. But I think I just had to really learn how to prioritize myself and my goals.
So when you did that, what were some of the things that you said were non-negotiable during working camp and showing up in summer camp?
Always making time in the evenings to like join the community calls and just making sure that I was like messaging a little bit and like maintaining some sort of connection with the community because I think having a community is part of like what makes this so much easier and more successful. And I don't have that community in like real life, so just maintaining it on the screen was important.
I think that's so cool too because who was your counselor, by the way?
Stacy.
Stacy is such a perfect person for you, and you are both New Englanders, so you have that in common. But you also started to post about your hiking, and it kind of even today inspires other people to do that. Why was it important to kind of share your passions into the group as well as in your personal life?
I think personally it just like helps me build my confidence and helps me see that I am doing the right things and just spreading that level of like success with other people and just encouraging like the positivity is really important in that kind of community. Um, and just showing people that it's possible to do the fun things that you didn't think that you were able to do before, and now you can.
I always think it's so fun because Jordan would come up in our counselor calls or in our counselor chats as like she's doing the work, she shows up authentically, and now she's a counselor herself. What inspired you to become a counselor this year with us?
I think just having the success that I've had and feeling like everything is really falling into place now, I want to kind of support people in doing the same thing. I'm a teacher, I supervise staff during the summer at camp, and I really like that aspect. I like supporting people and teaching people and giving people advice. So I think being a counselor for you in summer camp just made sense for me.
And what would you say has been the coolest part of working with the campers this summer?
I think just being able to connect with them and kind of connect people to the community and keep everyone kind of into it has been really nice. And just, if someone's having a bad day and they need a little positivity, just giving them a little oomph and, you know, keeping their spirits high and keeping them motivated.
And I think that's so important when we make sure that people come in because summer camp is our biggest time of year. And you've kind of seen a full year in Busy Bariatrics. It gets very escalated in the best way possible from like April to June. And then it starts to settle out. What were some of the things you noticed as you started to lose weight in Busy Bariatrics and working with me over the last year?
I have just noticed that I have learned so much, and the things that used to be so hard to incorporate into my day to day lifestyle have become habits that are just, this is what we're doing, like, this is what I do every day. And that's been really big.
I think it's been so cool because Jordan is a forward planner, hence like why she's a camp director herself, a counselor for us, a teacher during the day. And from working together over a year, Jordan was very good towards the end of each month, realizing like, okay, how should we handle Halloween? How should we handle Thanksgiving? You really did kind of want to learn a clear plan for each season of your bariatric journey. What are some takeaways that you could teach people today if they're listening on how to handle their first year of being a post-op?
I think just recognizing the things that you know that you struggle with and looking ahead to see where those struggles are going to be the biggest for you and making a plan ahead of time and just knowing that even if it isn't perfect, it's still better than not having a plan at all.
It's such a great way to look. And I think one of the cooler parts is as we got you closer to your maintenance weight, we started to incorporate just what should life look like because I think the first year our main focus was let's dial this in and get everything together. How much weight did you lose in the first year to give people a frame of reference?
I've lost a little over 100 pounds. I think like close to like 110 pounds since surgery.
So for those of you scoring at home, 100 on a GLP-1 prior to joining us, 110 after bariatric surgery. Life has been so different for you 210 pounds later. What are some other aspects of your life that you're getting involved with or doing that show how your life has changed after 210 pounds lost?
I think it's almost like having a completely different life. I feel like I really got the chance to start over and just being able to, live a healthier lifestyle and plan nutritionally and seeing other people ask me for advice on stuff like that is really cool. And just being able to, if I want to go out and hike a mountain on the weekend, then I can just do it and I don't have to worry if I can or can't.
Yeah, and it's so fun to see that because you not only share all your NSVs of getting to the top of mountains, but how did you celebrate your first year post op? Because I think this was still one of the best goals that we had worked together.
Yeah, so something that's always been on my bucket list is hiking in Zion National Park. And I don't know why, it was just always something that I really wanted to do.
Because it's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Give yourself some credit. Zion is
yeah, yeah, like, it was I always wanted to do it, I never thought that I could, I didn't think that that was accessible for me, so after, the weight loss and getting everything together, planned a trip for Zion and Bryce Canyon in April, so a year after my surgery, and I spent the whole week hiking every single day and just absolutely crushing it, and it was absolutely incredible.
will say the only thing I was frustrated about was when Jordan was doing this, it was very cold in New Jersey. So I would be waking up and getting through, like, those cold, miserable spring days where it's like it's technically spring, but it still feels wintry. And then at about like 12, 1 o'clock, my time as I was finishing up my school day or getting towards the end of it, I would get like, here's this beautiful view from Zion, and it's like 82 degrees, and like I hiked 15. But it was so cool to see how you have kind of done that while still also being in grad school, working two jobs, still having a social life. What does your food and fitness routine look like now after getting all of this together?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I've turned into a morning gym goer, which I never ever thought that I would be. I always used to look at the people who would go to the gym before work and think that they were absolutely crazy, and now that's
Now you
me.
realize you are crazy.
Yeah,
You drank the Kool-Aid and you're in there too.
absolutely. And so that's been huge, and I think that's just such a great way to start my day physically and just like give me the mental clarity to make it through every day. So that's been huge. And then just making sure that I have a plan for my nutrition during the week and setting myself up for success by meal planning on Sundays and then having all that food ready for me to go all throughout the week. So it doesn't matter what meetings I have after school or what comes up, what events I have going on. I know that I still have all those options ready to go.
And it's so awesome. Can you give an idea for people, like, on the days you have grad school, just kind of what your full day looks like? Because as much as you've been crushing hiking, running Ks, getting into the gym, dialing in your nutrition, having relationships with your friends, I think the calendar is still the most impressive. So walk us through a day in the life of Jordan.
Yeah, so I would say that I would wake up probably like 4:30, 5 o'clock, get ready, head to the gym. I live about 45 minutes away from where I work, so I would drive to the gym out that way, hit the gym for an hour or so. Then I would go right into work a full school day, maybe have enough time to fit a walk in after school, maybe not. And then I would go right into grad school for a few hours and have class, and then, you know, just try and decompress the rest of the night, but usually have either some schoolwork or anything else going on. And then, even as the spring started, starting to plan for camp and all that stuff. So it's pretty nonstop.
It was always fun, like, coaching in our one-to-ones, because we both kind of start our summer camp preparation at the same time, and people don't realize it really does start in January, putting it all together, but also getting this. And you also decided you wanted to run a 5K during all of this. Why, because this was the schedule, but it's so cool to hear this.
I had always seen my friends running 5Ks, right? And sometimes they would even do it together, and it was never something that I could do, and it was something that I knew I couldn't do. And so when I started getting more fit and having a little bit more endurance, I said, I want to try it. I want to see what it's all about. So I started slowly jogging and following a running program, and then I ran my first 5K, and it was awesome.
And it's so cool now because I think you found like the 5K is your perfect flow for you, where we kind of have this perfect workout split where you're lifting heavy, your body comp has been ridiculous. And then you're also running at what we've built as a program of like, so that I can run a 5K again, but with no bigger goals. So it's like a little bit of running so that if one comes up, you can be like, I'm ready to do that. How has your body comp changed since joining Busy Bariatrics?
It's completely changed. I look like I work out, and that's kind of been the coolest thing, seeing, you know, biceps or like a collarbone, like all that stuff. It was just so cool to see kind of the transformation.
And for those of you who are following Jordan on Instagram, I will tell you in the most HR friendly school teacher to school teacher way possible, she has not gotten bulky. Like she has this perfect physique where she looks athletic and fit to the point. I will say this. Sometimes I will be scrolling on Instagram and I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Jordan. Because I'm so used to just seeing from like the head up when we do our Zoom calls. And then the best photo I think I've seen of you is where the action shot of you running in the 5K. And I was just like, oh my goodness, she is crushing it. And it has been so awesome. What has it been like to see pictures of before and to now? And how has that helped keep you motivated during the tough times?
It's really wild because I look back at pictures from before I lost weight, and I don't even think I ever really realized how big I was. And, I even look back at the pictures that when I was at my heaviest, I would look back on and be like, I just want to be at that weight. Like, I just want to look like that again. And even that was like not much different. So now to see pictures of myself and compare them to then, I think it's just really crazy to see. And I think you can also really see the like mental transformation too, because I just look so much happier now. And I think looking back at pictures, you could really see how much I was kind of struggling during that time.
Yeah, and it's been phenomenal because I could never really tell if Jordan was happy with the program because she has a very straight face when we come on. But every month over month, she would see she's almost smiling if you're watching on YouTube. But slowly and surely, she would be a little bit more of like that smile would come in. There would be confidence and proudness, and it's been cool. And I really like at this point we've kind of learned to like fit in foods and lifestyle into everything. How's your relationship with food changed since joining Busy Berry?
I mean, it's changed completely. I've kind of learned that food is something that I can use to fuel myself with, and you can still have some fun with it too. But I think, I always used to think of food, like healthy food, as, you know, broccoli and boiled chicken and rice. And, I kind of learned that you can make nutritionally healthy food taste good. And it doesn't have to be like boring or bland. Like you can still eat fun and good, but just protein forward.
It's such an awesome way to do it. And I love now, I see you're going to like the casinos or you're doing like after school activities and nightlife and you're having fun, you're incorporating foods and you're maintaining this awesome healthy weight. So, what is next for you when it comes to the gym, your goals in life? Because we are at a really awesome and special point in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to continue getting stronger and see where that takes me. I still want to be able to do a pull up on my own, unassisted, just one. That's still my goal. And yeah, I mean, I'm almost finishing up my next degree, so I think just seeing what comes next will be really fun.
I'm so excited for you, and I know the pull up is going to come. And for those of you listening at home, a unassisted pull up is a lot harder than people think, and it really takes developing back muscles, doing your pull activities, really working your lats and delts. You have to have extreme grip strength. And when Jordan brought that goal to me, do you remember what I told you to do every day at the end of your workout?
Yeah, just do dead hangs. And I could do them for maybe like 2 seconds when I first started doing it, and now I can do it for a lot longer.
It's so fun to watch because every now and then you don't mention it because I love how humble you are, but you'll be like, by the way, I'm up to like 45 seconds in a dead hang. And this is just an example of I told her, if you want to do this, do this. And then Jordan does it independently. And the first time I think you were like, oh my God, this is horrible. I'm like, oh, trust me, it's not easier for me at all. But it's been cool to see that. So as we get to the end of the episode, are you ready to go into the lightning round and see how we get busy?
Let's do it.
Perfect. B is for building habits. What's the best habit you've built since joining Busy Bariatrics?
Definitely becoming a morning gym goer.
Love it. The U is for understanding nutrition. Best lesson you've learned so far?
Setting up a meal plan and prepping it one day and having it for the week. Just setting yourself up for success and having those food options readily available.
Love it. S is for staying active. What's your favorite way to do it?
Definitely hiking.
And the pictures always come out so well when you do it. The Y is showing up for yourself. What does that look like these days?
I think just prioritizing time to do all of those habits. So really looking at my schedule and fitting that in and making sure that I do it.
Love it. And then we also had the exclamation point for a favorite healthy source of dopamine. Give like an interesting one that people may not know. What's one of your favorite healthy sources of dopamine?
I started doing pickleball over the course of this year, and I think that's been a really fun one.
I think the highlight of this interview for me is I've forgotten so much we've incorporated and the new things that you've done because you're always just inspiring us and showing us that like there's new things we can add in. So, Jordan, I love all these answers. If someone brand new to the show or is considering weight loss surgery or working with us is listening, what would you say to them right now?
I would say don't wait until you feel like you have the perfect plan. Just start small somewhere with one small step and just keep building on it.
It's so true. And I'm so happy you did that as well for us. So, people think they need to be motivated to get started, but really, you just need to decide, like Jordan just said. Jordan, you decided that, and that's what's changed everything. And I am so proud of you. All right, Busy Bariatrics. If this one hit, that means it's time to stop collecting awareness and start applying action. Don't just nod along. Go prove to yourself that you're coachable, consistent, and capable. And hey, if this podcast has helped you in any way, the best way to support the show without even spending a dime is to leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps more bariatric patients find the no BS guidance, and it tells the algorithm that we're done with the fluffy weight loss advice and ready for the real stuff. So if you haven't yet, pause, scroll down, and hit the stars because I read every single one. And as always, keep getting busy. Thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you.